You guys are from Turkey. Brooklyn loves Turkey. Brooklyn is the Istanbul of America. We love your food, we love your music, but I don't understand Turkish. We can take a selfie though.
And we are not surprised. We expected this. This is not surprising to us at all. The actions that have unfolded over the last 10 months, the leaks, the commentary, the demonizing, this did not surprise us that we reached this day.
You know, I've talked a lot about Mayor Tiffany Haynes on this channel. She's from Dalton, Illinois, and talking about how she handles leadership and thinking, God, I feel bad for those people down there. I thought at this point, with the feds investigating her, I'm thinking she's not going to last. The feds are bound to come for her any day now. But then out of nowhere, my own mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, gets indicted by the feds. It's funny in a sad way. And here's the thing. What Adams is accused of is on a whole nother level. His actions aren't just about corruption. According to the feds, they're a threat to national security. You can't make this up. You seriously cannot make this up. Your boy Eric Adams was enjoying the high life, the luxury that the country of Turkey can provide. So we're going to get into the indictment. I have it here. We're going to read through some of these charges and see what the level of corruption Eric Adams is accused of being involved in. Let's get into it. So we're going to be reading some of this indictment so everyone can understand exactly what's going on. In this story, we have several key players. At the center of this indictment, of course, is New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who stand accused of bribery, wire fraud, accepting illegal campaign contributions from foreign nationals. He's screwed. Adams allegedly used his position as mayor to solicit money and lavish gifts, particularly from the Turkish officials and business interests, in exchange for favorable treatment. Then we have Businessman 5, one of Adams' close associates, who allegedly helped funnel illegal foreign donations into his campaign. Businessman 5 plays a major role in coordinating the bribes and cover up their tracks once the investigation began. Also involved is Adams' fundraiser, who facilitated these contributions and ensured that the money flowed from various sources, despite it all being illegal. Finally, we have Adams' staffers, who are accused of working to conceal the criminal activities once the federal investigation became public. These individuals are all part of a larger conspiracy to use Adams' influence for personal and financial gain. Each of these players is critical to understanding the craziness and the depth of all these allegations and the scope of this scandal. The feds don't play around. In 2014, Eric Adams, the defendant, became Brooklyn Borough President. Therefore, for nearly a decade, Adams sought and accepted improper, valuable benefits, such as luxury international travel, including from wealthy foreign business people, and at least one Turkish government official seeking to gain influence over him. By 2018, Adams, who had then been known for his plans to run for mayor of New York City, not only accepted but sought illegal campaign contributions to his 2021 mayoral campaign, as well as other things of value from foreign nationals. As Adams' prominence and power grew, his foreign national benefactors sought to cash in on their corrupt relationships with him, particularly when in 2021 it became clear Adams will become New York City's mayor. Adams agreed, providing favorable treatment in exchange for the illicit benefits he received. After his inauguration as mayor of New York City, Adams soon began preparing for his next election, including by planning to elicit more illegal contributions and granting requests for those who supported his 2021 mayoral campaign with such donations. Not good. What's going on here, Eric Adams? So, as you see, Mayor Eric Adams not only solicited and accepted illegal contributions from foreign nationals, which prohibit federal influence in U.S. elections. The brazenness of this is quite astonishing and hilarious. To imagine that a sitting mayor in New York City would open the doors for foreign money to flow in his campaign suggests a deep level of corruption. It's not just breaking the law, but you're selling out integrity of the electoral process. What makes this worse that Adams, a politician with such stature, should be beyond reproach in this regard. But unfortunately, that's how politicians move. The acceptance of foreign donations compromises not only his campaign, but also the trust of the public, because at this point, he has to step down. I don't know how he thinks he's going to continue to be mayor of New York City. It's not happening. Eric Adams, the defendant, also accepted valuable travel and hospitality benefits for himself and his companions during their time in Turkey. For example, during a stay in Istanbul during the July and August 2017 trip, the Adams relative and the Adams liaison accepted a heavily discounted stay at the St. Regis Istanbul arranged by the promoter. The St. Regis Istanbul is owned by the businesswoman who sought to ingratiate herself with Adams. Adams stayed in the Bentley suite, portions which is depicted here. Let's look at some pictures. I think they have this spot here. Now it's black and white, but I'm assuming it's all in color when you walk in the room. I'm just kidding. But it looks really nice. I mean, I wonder how much money it costs to have that kind of room. It looks pretty nice. I mean, look at this. It's the bathroom. That's a rapper's bathroom right there, like a Diddy bathroom. No Diddy. And it says right here, although booking the Bentley suite for 2 nights would have cost approximately $7,000, $3,500 a night, Adams paid less than $600. What is the percentage discount he got from that? Hold on a second. I'm terrible with math, but give me a second here. So as you see here, Homeboy got a 91.43%, over 90% discount. That's impressive. I mean, that's extremely impressive. So we're going to talk about Eric Adams, the defendant. He solicited and accepted free and heavily discounted luxury travel benefits from the Turkish official and others in exchange for intending to be influenced in connection with the New York City's regulation of the Turkish house. This details a classic example of bribery. When we talk about corruption, this is exactly what we mean, using public office for personal gain. The Turkish house, a 36-story skyscraper in New York City, was allegedly opened without proper fire inspections because Adams' pressure on city officials. This is where the danger lies. Adams wasn't just bending the rules for personal gain, he was actively endangering public safety by circumventing the city's regulations. The question here isn't just how much Adams benefited, but how many corners he was willing to cut for the people footing the bill. In or about 2021, in the Southern District of New York and elsewhere, Eric Adams, the defendant, knowingly and willingly solicited, accepted, and received, and aided, and abetted, and willfully caused the solicitation, acceptance, and receipt of a contribution and donation from a foreign national, and express and imply promises to make contribution and donation in connection with a local election, to wit, mayoral elections in New York City, aggregating $25,000 or more in a calendar year. So again, Homeboy was getting paid by the Turkish government to do whatever they wanted him to do. He was a puppet for the Turkish government. The feds also reveal how the Adams team knew about the federal investigation and tried to hide their criminal activities. Eric Adams, the defendant, and his co-conspirators and agents continued their efforts to defeat scrutiny of their criminal conduct after the federal investigators into the crimes became known to them. On November 2nd, 2023, special agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, executed search warrants at, among other locations, the residence of the Adams fundraiser, Businessman 5, and the Adams staffer. Each took actions to conceal the criminal conduct they had committed with Adams. After learning FBI agents had arrived at her residence, but before answering the repeated knocks at their door, the Adams fundraiser called Adams 5 times, even though the agents have not given the Adams fundraiser any indication of the purpose for their visit. When the Adams fundraiser then spoke to FBI agents, she agreed to discuss many subjects, but refused to say who paid for her 2021 travel to Turkey. As the FBI agents departed the Adams fundraiser's residence, Adams attempted to call the Adams fundraiser phone. On the morning that the FBI agents executed this search, Adams had flown to Washington, D.C. for a publicized official meeting, but upon learning about the search, Adams canceled that meeting and immediately flew back to New York City. Businessman 5 also agreed to speak to FBI agents and acknowledging that he and his employees had contributed to the 2021 campaign. Businessman 5 further acknowledged that he had spoken with the Turkish official about his construction company's fundraiser for the 2021 campaign. But Businessman 5 lied in order to conceal the straw donations he orchestrated, falsely denying that he caused his construction company to reimburse his employees for their contributions, and he knew why the company had issued identical checks to 10 employees for the amount of their contributions shortly before the fundraiser. In case you guys don't know what a straw donation is, it's basically there's a limit on how much money a person can individually donate. And what you do as a straw donator is you give money to people to donate in your behalf. And the way FBI can probably investigate this is the fact that obviously these checks were identical, and most likely that these 10 individuals probably never contributed to a campaign in their life. So it obviously looks shady. And on top of that, the amount of money probably had some red flags as well. They didn't do really well to hide that straw donation. The Adams staffer also agreed to speak to FBI agents and falsely denied the criminal conduct of herself and Adams, among others. At one point during her voluntary interview, the Adams staffer excused herself to the bathroom. While there, deleted the encrypted messaging applications she had used to communicate with Adams, the promoter, the Turkish official, and the airline manager, and others. You could not mess with the feds, man. They find everything. Like, you cannot listen. Eric Adams is screwed. I mean, I've read enough, but let's continue. On November 6, 2023, FBI agents executed a search warrant for the electronic devices used by Eric Adams, the defendant. Although Adams was carrying several electronic devices, including 2 cell phones, he was not carrying his personal cell phone, which is the device he used to communicate about the conduct described in this indictment. When Adams produced his personal cell phone the next day in response to the subpoena, it was locked, such that the device required a password to open. Adams claimed that after he learned about the investigation into his conduct, he changed the password on November 5th, 2024, and increased the complexity of his password from 4 digits to 6. Adams had done this, he claimed, to prevent members of his staff from inadvertently or intentionally deleting the context of his phone because, according to Adams, he wished to preserve the context of his phone due to the investigation. But Adams further claimed he had forgotten the password he had just set and thus unable to provide the FBI with a password that would unlock the phone. My God, man. The FBI doesn't raid homes unless they have substantial evidence. This speaks to the extent of the cover-up, with Adams' inner circle, his fundraiser, his business associates, and staff alleged working together to hide the criminal activities. He knew he was doing something wrong. The fact that multiple houses were raided shows how deep the corruption runs. We're not talking about some isolated incidents. This was a systematic effort to evade accountability. If these key players were involved, it points to a larger network of deception within Adams' administration. And the cover-up suggests that Adams knew exactly what was happening, and he and his associates were desperate to keep the truth hidden. The feds have a clear, strong case here, and the involvement of so many individuals make it hard for Adams to plead ignorance. When someone is in position of power is willing to accept bribes, it just undermines the entire system. At least he's not even smart enough to get away with this. Adams was supposed to be working for the people of New York, but instead he was working for the highest bidder. The long-term nature of this bribery scheme suggests that Adams was comfortable operating outside the law for personal gain. The feds have his whole 10-year history with Turkey, all here. I mean, right here, 2015, Eric Adams took 2 official trips to Turkey. His first trip was back in August 2015, was arranged by the Turkish Consulate General in New York City, paid for in part by the Turkish Consulate, in part by a for-profit educational conglomerate based in Istanbul. And the second trip was in December 2015, was arranged by the Turkish official and Turkish entrepreneur, quote unquote, the promoter, whose business included organizing events to introduce Turkish corporations and business people to politicians, celebrities, and others who influence might benefit the corporations and business people. For both trips, Adams received free business class tickets on the Turkish airline. Unlike Adams' subsequent travel with the Turkish airline, Adams reported his 2015 travel to Turkey on a financial closure forms filed with New York City Conflict of Interest Board, as he was required to do annually at all times. And these are the several people involved in this indictment. The Turkish official who helped Adams travel, then the promoter who arranged the straw donations, the straw contributions, and then the owner and chairman of the Turkish University, Businessman 1, who met with Adams in 2015, and then he had the volunteer at the Brooklyn Borough Hall, the Adams staffer, who has served as Adams' liaison to Eastern Europe Muslim countries, including Turkey. The Adams staffer became a paid member of Adams' staff at Borough Hall and later City Hall. Adams' staffer accompanied Adams on his 2015 trip to Turkey, and later, at Adams' direction, coordinated many of the illegal campaign contributions and improper personal travel benefits related to this indictment. The indictment against Mayor Eric Adams paints a picture of a leader who allegedly used his power for personal gain, involving illegal campaign contributions, bribery, and foreign influence. He's accused of accepting luxury gifts, trips, and accommodations in exchange for favorable treatment of foreign business interests like the Turkish House in New York. The FBI investigation reveals a deep level of corruption, with Adams and his inner circle working to cover up their actions when the investigation came to light. The evidence is extensive, from illegal donations, documents, and financial records seized in FBI raids, and direct involvement in these bribery schemes. The indictment makes it clear that Adams wasn't just cutting corners, he was actively selling out his office to foreign interests and jeopardizing public trust. Like I said, Adams is completely screwed. And I'm thinking probably at the end of the week, maybe next week, he's probably gonna have to step down. There's going to be enough pressure from everybody to decide that he is not the guy that is going to lead New York City to do anything positive at this point. He just sucks. He just sucks. He messed all this up, unfortunately. But what do you guys think about this crazy situation? Did you guys think that he was going to actually get indicted before Hingner? I think I had a poll earlier, and most people thought that Hingner was going to get indicted first. But nope. Adams clearly was doing so much wrong that the feds hit him first. So Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I see you guys in the next video.